A couple people asked me some questions last night that I thought might be pretty good. And I know we're starting early, but that's good because I don't know how much I'll be able to get through. And I'm going to fly this morning. I'm going to give out as much stuff as I can. And again, fire away questions if you have something that's on your mind. One thing about a flanker, the flanker set. I had some people ask me how we play that. The nose is shaded just like before. We have a 3 technique, 9. Again, you can play this nose, shaded on the center or play them in a G. And what we tell our end to do, we just tell them we're playing a gap technique. And all we're telling this end to do is to get upfield. And we're telling him to get 2 yards across the line of scrimmage, have ball moves. We want great penetration. We have got to draw the double team. All right, that's the key with this guy. You got to draw the double team. His alignment, right in the gap. That's all we play the corner at 2 by 2, all right? Free safety plays over the top. Now we move him around, okay? You can play him off the tackle about 8 yards deep, 9 yards deep, all right? And we were 4 sky right here, all right? And you've got your Sam, Mike, and Will. They do not change their alignments at all, okay? Now, one thing that we liked about the 4-3 was we didn't like to play 7 or 6 techniques against 2 backs, all right? And you're kind of in that here. But we kind of felt like, we had such a hard time with our ends, and I don't know if you have through the years of teaching them, your 7 technique, you step into the tight end, you read the tackle, if he disappears, you close back down. It's very difficult. A lot of times the guys are small, they have a hard time playing into that tight end anyway, okay, because tight ends are bigger, stronger, they move. They can get a lot more movement on our guys. So we stick them right in the gap, and we get great penetration. We draw the double team. Our corner plays right off, and he's tight, and we're going to bounce everything now. If we had power coming this way, all right, that corner, we play a boundary corner and a field corner. That corner is a tough son of a gun for us. You could almost put your safety over there if you wanted to. But he's going to come and bounce everything to the outside. We're going to work everything to the outside of the perimeter. The free safety is going to work it right to the sideline. We're going to use that boundary because a lot of times it's going to be to the hash. They're going to put the formation to the field. So you all follow me on that flanker. That's how we're going to play the flanker. Okay. Something else. I drew up some options here. I hope I got a little bit of room. The other thing I want to talk about just a little bit on, if you're trying to make this as simple as you can. Say you don't want to run the 4 sky with the safeties reading. I mean, that's not very difficult, probably anyway. But what you can do, you can go ahead and base everything out of halves coverage. All right, even on 2 back. That's no problem. You base everything out of halves coverage. Now remember how I said you're a little bit soft that tight inside on the ISO? When they're coming in here, we're just a little bit soft here. Well, all you have to do is go ahead and run quarters and put that strong safety over the top of that tight end. So, at times you can just disguise this. You can take this guy and so your Sam backer doesn't have to always run with that number 2 vertical. Just take the Sam backer and go ahead and let him play the ISO tough, right? And go ahead and put your safety. This would be a free safety for us. We change them around sometimes, but it could be a free or a strong safety, however you want to use them. But put your safety over the top of the tight end, and then your Sam backer doesn't have to worry about the vertical release. And you can disguise this. Just always base out of halves coverage, and then right before snap, let your corner just sink out of there. And you can just tell the Sam he's got the flat on your quarter coverage. All right? So just so you know, you don't have to go to 4 sky and teach it. You can just teach halves all the time. You can teach your corners just to funnel the wideouts in, and just teach your halves, and then just teach quarters. All right. Now the thing about quarters, though, is the thing that people have problems with is you get the out route and you get the curl right here. Your strong safety is supposed to rob that curl. Well, as he keeps robbing this curl, then they're going to hit the skinny post or the deep post behind him. Okay. And I don't know if any of you have had problems in quarters coverage with them hitting a deep route because the strong safety is so worried about robbing that curl that they get something behind him. Well, all you have to do is, again, like we do, just tell your corner when they got quarters, play him on the inside, and he's got the post over the top of that strong safety. You follow what I'm saying? And then you can let your strong safety be a lot more aggressive. Now, again, you'll give up the out, right? But again, they're not probably going to run a lot of out routes out of I-backs. And if they do, you can just play your halves coverage. You can stem that or disguise that. Okay, is everybody with me on that? I just want to go back to that because some people were talking about, force guy or four or halves. How do you do all the different coverages? And you don't have to. You can base out of your halves coverage, just run some quarters like that. And then depending on how you want to run this, whether you want to run a true quarter zone and not be maybe as aggressive on that curl, okay, or go ahead and let the corner play on the inside of number 1 for the post. All right, we're in good shape. All right. Now, I'm going to zing through. I drew some options up because, I wanted to try to get through it. I'll back up to those. I want to show you a couple things you can do out of that I backfield. Some movement that really has been good for us. And one is just a move that we call opposite. Okay? And we have defensive ends that are not real big, but they do run okay. They're 4'8" kind of guys. The one guy does run better now. He's 4'7", but one move that we'll do, and we'll put this tackle in a 4-eye. And sometimes we'll play him in a 4-eye. If teams are pounding that tight inside, we'll move him just to the inside alignment of that tackle. Okay? And what we're going to do is right before snap is I'll take the will linebacker and I'll sprint him right there. Okay? It's opposite, so the Mike linebacker knows he's normally got the A-gap to the tight inside. Opposite now, he knows he's got the opposite A-gap. So he's just going to step right here. The Sam backer now has the B-gap. He just steps back. And what we do is we'll run, it'll end up being a 50 slant. And I'm telling you, it's a pretty good thing. It's good against teams that run the ball tight inside. Especially, you can imagine, you're sitting there, an offense is working against that 4-3 all the time, just base. I know a number of y'all have coached offense, and all of a sudden, the worst thing is those guys moving. And I talked to some people last night about people stemming. We don't stem much. I'm not saying that's bad to do, because but we would rather move on snap. That's just the way I am. I just like to move the guys on snap. Now what you'll do is all you have to tell your end is, he's usually wide, just tell him to just move down the side. That's a little bit of a stem right there to almost head up. And you can even back him off the line a little bit so he makes sure he can rip into his gap. But the key is that end has got to get there. All right? They got to get to their gaps. Put the nose, let the nose just move the head up and take off. You got a 4-eye. This guy is going to loop a little bit more because he is your contained tackle now. But again, they're in the I formation, and there's a reason behind doing this. Okay? Now, this is the thing. The end, he's got to drop to the flat. Now, you might say, well, God, that end's just a big guy that rushes. That's fine. Who cares if he gets to the flat? Just tell him to go there. They hit the out route, maybe they'll hit an out route. All right? But just let them drop to the flat in case, if you got a guy that can run a little bit, that's how your coverage is, and then you're going to run quarters right there. Okay? And really, that's a nice little deal for powers, counters, toss sweep to tight inside. You're in a game, gosh dog, they're hitting us over that tight inside, call opposite. You guys will love running it too. Now, here's a little bit of weakness to it, just so you know all the different things. You're not going to work your will linebacker a lot on boots, on the zone play. You know how your end's on air, if you all used to run a 50 front, you know how that end squeezes, keeps your shoulder square, squeezes right with this guy because, any cutback right in that, off that tackle. Because the tackle, running, the tackle here running the end down, or cutting them off and having that happen right in here. What you have to do is, I wouldn't worry about your will linebacker worrying about squeezing that. I'd let your will linebacker just say, go, take off, play the boot. This is, by the way, pretty good on boots, the split side too. Because you can tell your will linebacker, all I want you to do, if you have any of the counter action and he's coming back around, just tell him to go right to the top of the quarterback and knock the crap out of the quarterback. Play the boot. Stop the boot. That's all he's got to do. But what you want to do is, this is a key guy. your Mike linebacker, as he moves back to that A gap, and you've got a tight end play, all you got to teach your Mike linebacker is just slow down. You're not in a 3-linebacker defense now. You're in a 2-linebacker defense. In other words, you don't have a cutback play right away. So you can't fast flow as much as you did. Now that's a real important coaching point. Take your Mike linebacker and tell him just to make sure he plays the backside cutback. You don't need him over tight end side as fast. You've got everybody moving that way. But you better make sure your linemen get there to the gaps. Okay? So that's been a pretty good call for us, and we've used in the past. And as far as movement, again, against 2-back teams. And like I said yesterday, something that's very, very important is understand your formation and make your guys understand it. What are they in? Are they in I formation? Are they in split backs? Are they in 1-back? Is it a run offense? Is it a pass offense? To us, and I'll ask you the first day, I'll ask the linebackers, what kind of offense is this? It's a run offense. Stop the run offense. So, you know, those things are real important. Okay? So I just wanted to go over that movement. And any questions on that, on the opposite? Okay. Now, one other thing. Sometimes, if we feel pretty strong about this end, on a tight end, and we want to go, say you want to go to quarters, and you want your Sam backer to get out into flat, you can just make an exchange call with that guy, just to line him up out here, and really you're almost in an over defense. Because you can see what happens. You bring that guy down tight, you're loaded up on tight, and you can't. We sometimes will bring our Sam backer right up on the line. And you end up almost in over defense. But that way his alignment will be easier to get to the flat if you're going to run quarters that side. All right? And then off that, a good third and short call that we will use is we will just run an in stunt. And we'll take this guy from a 9 alignment and we'll slide him in. Those two guys just hitting inside. Your Mike linebacker playing to the B gap and your Sam playing to the outside. It's been a good third and short call for us. So just if you want to look at different movements. Some movements, I said opposite, that in call, those are 2 big calls for us that we've used before. Also, some people will also take the in and rip them inside, okay, and run some exchanges there. All right, so you can, you can have that end come inside. You know, we have a call for that. Both ends pinching inside, just to stop the inside seams on short yards. And you can do it either side. A lot of times, if you have a run game that's going this way, if you've got some guys that can run, it's a lot of times better to run those stunts. I know a lot of people want to run the stunts on side, but they're real good from backside too, because you can catch them from behind quite often. Okay? So I'm just looking at some movements to 2-back. Now remember, this is to 2-back, okay? It's real important. All right. Okay, remember yesterday I went through our base 4-3. Went through some coverages that we use against the I formation. Obviously, everybody doesn't come out in the I. And let me just talk about the option a little bit here. Probably should first, before I go to the 3-back, I'm going to go to the 2-back option, okay? If I can find some more room here. Rip this thing off. We really feel like the key with the option is getting people out into the alleys. Now, the way we teach this is our 9 technique and our 5 technique, they are responsible for the quarterback. They just are. The outside linebackers, we'll teach them that they always have the outside half of the quarterback. The outside half of the quarterback. Middle linebacker, he's always going to go dive to quarterback. But he's got the inside half of the quarterback. Okay? Now remember when I talked about the ends being a little bit wider yesterday? If you're playing against an option team, this is where we will change a call for our ends. And we're going to bring our ends down. You have to. You have got to bring your ends down, and you play them. We play them sometimes almost on the outside throat. And we square the alignment. We make sure their shoulders are square. We're gonna play almost the outside throat, and we're gonna squeeze, and we're gonna collapse. Okay? And our ends right now, we're trying to have them pick up the ball out of the corner of their eye, but we are going to be more of a, reacting. Now remember, if you're playing an option team, very few option teams are going to do anything but base or release down inside. They're not going to reach your ends. You're not going to have a team that's great. The option also runs a toss sweep. Now I know you might say, well, yeah, I remember there is somebody that does that. I'm sure there probably is. They're probably not as effective with everything. We don't face many teams in Big 8 that can do all of it. Nebraska's one. They're amazing, and they're also a very good team. That's probably why they get close to finishing at top every year. But I'll just go through the veer. We get the veer option to the split side. The end's responsibility, he has got to squeeze that tackle. He's got to knock the crap out of that tackle and keep him off. We don't worry about the Will linebacker. He's not going to get to him, but he's got to keep him off this guy, the Mike linebacker. And we'll work option drills every day, like even in 2 days, even if maybe you won't play an option team till third game of the year. But you better do something to work with the option almost every day a little bit. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just so they don't, hey, we got an option read with your linebackers, your ends. I mean, I know we're going to put a real emphasis on it this spring for our guys because we think that there's going to be more and more option, more and more two-back in the Big 8. All right? But the end has got to squeeze down, he's got to stay square, and he's got to come upfield, and he's going to take the dive. Okay? The Will linebacker is going to work outside. He's going to take the alley. He's just your alley player, the outside half quarterback. Your Mike linebacker is going to get all the way outside. He just reads that. And that's just drills and drills and drills. If it's going to be a base block and the double team to get a dive, we're going to go ahead and hit that right in the head. And it's an exchange again. Remember what I talked about? That if we get a base action, that Will linebacker is looking inside. This is where the only time we don't get much base option, okay? We just don't get it much. But out of two-back, if that happens, the end's going to take quarterback. The Will and the Mike are both going to come in and knock the crap out of the dive. Okay, we're going to run that guy. We're going to stop inside seams. And then you got your corner on the pitch to this side. Does everybody follow me on that? It's real important. It's very, very important that you get your ends down. The next thing, you got to make sure that this nose guard is wide enough that he can never get reached by the center. Just don't forget that. If that center can reach your nose and split side, when we get to some of the other options, it's going to kill you. Don't let it happen. He can never get reached. He can't do it. You got to draw the double team. In other words, if somehow they take this guard and some of the option schemes and they work him out for your Mike linebacker, then you better tell that nose guard he better cause problems every single time. All right? And shade him far enough to where he can. Okay? Same thing over to this side. There's a little bit longer stretch. But if, first of all, if they just run the dive straight up in the A-gap, our Mike linebackers are going to go and knock the heck out of it. And he's reading that, the fullback's angle, all the time. Okay? If they ran the veer action and they run him wider, well, it's a different angle out of that fullback. Our Mike is going to work outside. The end collapse, takes a dive. We tell him not to chase it, but take whatever's natural. All right? And then we'll get our Sam all the way outside and our Mike to the inside half quarterback, Sam to outside half quarterback. When I go to the three-back option, I'll tell you why it's important, inside and outside half quarterback. You'll see what I mean by that. More than just the base. We don't see any, really, very little two-back option. Very little. We'll see only three-back option in the Big 8 right now. Okay? We always keep our free safety at about 8 yards. And he's going to play to the guard of the strength or to the field. Because no matter what happens, somebody's going to mess up sometime during that game. And we always have our safety work quarterback. Okay? He's always going to work. Well, we really like to have him go louder a little bit, but that's why we've got to secure the dive. Because that safety's going to be running so fast, you can't ask him to go dive to quarterback to pitch. It's too hard because we want to get him on the horse. So we better secure the dive with that front seven real well. well, hopefully, and the quarterback. We want to spill it outside. Okay, now let's go to the three-back option, which is really why we put this 4-3 in. I know my drawing might not be real good, so bear with me. This is Nebraska around the eye bone, and they're very good at it. Same thing has to happen. I'm just going to the split side, okay? The end's got to come down. We call this an abort. When this fullback comes, he's almost running like he's going to run the veer path, and he aborts out, and he's looking for the first thing that shows. He's going to look inside, and then right up all the way up to the free safety. That's just going to be his track all the time. We want our end to this is tough. This is very difficult, you know, and if a team's real good at this abort option. And I don't know if you guys see this or not. I don't know if you do. If you don't, I'll move through it. And but the end, we want him to slam. He doesn't have to go very far again with this guy. We think, one, by his alignment being tighter, the track of that offensive tackle has got to be flatter to that middle linebacker. You understand? Now remember, the middle linebacker is reading this path, and it is different than this. And I work with my middle linebacker continually on this. And when he sees the abort, he's out of there. He's flat, and he's out of there on the abort. Okay, you got to teach the different tracks of that fullback. Okay. And all we're telling that Mike linebacker is you have got to get outside of this guy, because strong safety is going to come up. Okay. Now we don't want to ask that strong safety to go through the block to the pitch. So what we're telling that will linebacker is you rip and you work hard, because a lot of times this track is going to be right here. You guys see that? A lot of times the track of that lead back is going to be right here looking for that will linebacker. And we'll tell that will linebacker, I always had a hard time teaching those guys to play the cut block, because I watched years and years of film, and I know how everybody tries to teach how you stick your hands on that helmet or the shoulder pad, you put them down, you give ground, you put that helmet into the dirt, and you bounce away. But you know what? When you do that, that just took time. And you go against a great option team, and they're gone. So what we always taught our will linebacker is just rip to the outside of the load. Bring the play into your middle linebacker, just like all your plays. Bring it into your middle linebacker and your free safety. Okay, what you've done, and we tell them to blow it up, and sometimes we might change that if this load starts to get so wide that that quarterback's just ducking it up inside. But out of your base, we'll tell will linebacker rip, and we work rips all the time. Rip outside that load. Okay, now you've protected your strong safety on the pitch, right? You've already taken the outside half of the quarterback, and you've used up that load block. You better use them up. Don't go outside and rip outside. We had the problem this year with Tommy Frazier in Nebraska, where our guy was ripping outside, and there was no, the load just didn't block him, then turned up. And then because of the momentum, because they were trying to work so hard, Frazier just come back up inside. Okay, now our free safety makes a play, but you know, he maybe gets 8 or 9 yards. But just rip outside load. This is the key right here now. If you get this action right here at the end, we tell him to slam and tackle that guy. Tackle that fullback. If it aborts out, reach out and just grab him. Tackle him. He's got to take that block away. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get all the way up to your free safety. And then that quarterback might run past your Mike linebacker. You see, and I'm talking about a good team. We're talking about this is a Nebraska offense. And this is exactly how we played it when we, you know, when we held those 280 yards, and we had we didn't have a lot of talent. Now Nebraska has since gone to one back and ISO and toss, you know, done so many things. That's what makes it a little bit more difficult now. But eye-bone teams, or wishbone teams, it's the same thing. I'm going to draw up a wishbone here in a second. Again, Mike linebacker, you might cheat him almost head up here too, and you almost might give him to 5.5 yards deep. All right, so he can get out into the alley. But what's great about this is, one, you've got will linebacker working the outside half quarterback. He might be good enough to where that load back is not real great. I'm putting you in your worst situation. You know, the will, he's got to beat that load once in a while, doesn't he? I'm saying, what if he gets him every time? Well, in a game, he's not going to get him every time. Your will's going to make him play on that quarterback. All right? This tackle, your end's got to do a great job here. All right? Say the end slams him down, keeps him off the middle linebacker, but he slams him down so far the fullback gets outside of him. That'll happen sometimes, fine. Then what he'll do is he's got to make a decision, right? He's got two people that are steaming for that quarterback. So that fullback better take somebody. He goes up free safety, Mike linebacker takes him because your will linebacker has cut that down. All right? So you all follow how we're playing that abort. I'll go to the three-back option over to the tight end side. Okay? And we'll face this with Iowa State. Again, we'll play this guy very tight. You don't see a lot of reaches. You don't have to worry about the reach then. You just tell him to slam, keep him off your middle linebacker. This is the toughest thing. Now remember the split side, it didn't seem like you could get your Mike linebacker out a little bit faster. But here remember, Mike linebackers, what happens is you've got three technique to this side, your Mike's a little bit deeper, you still have more people to this side, so you're really pretty balanced. That Mike, as far as the distance goes, really doesn't change too much. But you want your end to slam it down, take the dive. You want to work your, this would be your strong safety here. I'm sorry. Where do I have this drawn up? I've got the man from the other line that threw me off there. This is just going to the tight end side. They can't have 12. All right. Your corner's in a tight alignment. Anytime he gets a flare block like that, he's going to go up and stone it and meet that guy right away. Okay? And draw it inside. Here's your outside half a quarterback. Hopefully Mike will get there. If he doesn't, if somehow tight end gets here, you always got your free safety that's running with nobody blocking them. You're going to have somebody there all the time. You're going to get guys blocked in the option. That's why you're trying to get at least two people at quarterback. You got to get somebody in the alley. I mean, two people in the alley. We try to get two people in the alley plus a third guy. All right? And I'm going to show you this stuff on film again as well. So you'll see it because you got to see it happen. And you'll see it in a little bit. Okay? So again, your base two-back option, three-back option, right away your key, getting the middle linebacker out. On a three-back option, getting the middle linebacker out's key. Two-back option, we don't have as we don't have any problem with two-back option, haven't at all. So I'm always putting up things that we've had the difficulty with that 4-3 a little bit. All right, two-back option again. We're gonna have plenty of people. If they veer it, end comes down, we got two people working the quarterback, and you always still got your free safety. Now, play action pass. We will play. Like say they're coming this way to the split side and they're running a play action. All right? Run the veer scheme this way and trying to hit the skinny post. The way we're trying to play is our corner is playing basically that inside that receiver. And he's got him manned up. He might be as much as 9 yards deep, okay, and manned up on him. He's going to take away that route. Again, if they're an option team and they're option, they probably aren't going to be great at the play action. Or they maybe only have one route they have to really work on. And that's probably going to be the post cut. Okay, number one. If your strong safety is good at reading that ball on or off the line, reading his keys, hopefully he can wheel and give that corner some help on the inside on that post. Okay, because even if you're playing that corner to head up to inside, if that thing releases inside enough, you really want help from this guy. Okay, from strong safety wheeling, and then obviously with your free safety should be coming right over the top. Okay, but remember your free safety sometimes is playing a little bit tighter too, working the option game either way. All right, any questions on the option right now? Again, I'll get to some tape of it. I'm trying to get through as many things on our package. Any problems? We're all on the same page on this? Okay. Okay, I wanted to go to one back a little bit, show you our front on one back. We call this spread. I don't know what you call it. I'm just going to show you a base look. When we get to one back, we used to stay in halves coverage quite a bit. I want to just show you something real quick. as you know, if you stay in halves coverage, you're not going to be gap sound. If you got this will linebacker and he's adjusted out, okay, and you might, and instead of going through pattern reads, you know, there's no way we could go through all the pattern reads we do. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just drop them to spots. Mike linebacker get to the middle, the old hash marks, you might say 2 yards outside the hash. Of course, you don't want to worry about it, but the Sam backer and the will linebacker just working to the hash marks, okay? But what happens, obviously, is you've got these gaps, however you want to look at it, and you got to stretch because this guy's got to run the vertical, and he's still got to play the B gap, and that isn't easy. Now, we were able to play, but the nice thing about halves coverage, obviously, is you can reroute those receivers all the time. You put you lined up your DBs tight, you can reroute receivers, and that's nice. But what happened with us, you know, at Kansas State is teams became very good at running the zone play. They just became too good. And if you remember when I started talking yesterday, the first thing I said is you better stop the run. I don't care if it's a throwing team, whatever, you better stop the run. Don't give the offense balance. Okay? So this is a look that we might go to if it's like 3rd and long, running some halves coverage. And we'll always just adjust out with the will linebacker. And he knows he's got to run with number 2 vertical. He can work to the spot, but Sam's going to work with number 2 vertical also. Okay, and Mike just play in the middle. Again, there's a lot of pattern reads that we do, but I'm not going to go there. I wouldn't, if, you know, what I would do if they went to one back is I'd just go to cover 3 if you want to make sure you stop the run. And let me just show you how we'll line up more and more. We'll go to some halves look, but we'll give this look as well. And I'll spend a little bit more time on this. Okay, now, remember the 6 technique that I told you that we don't like to play very much. That's against 2-back offense. Very important. We know our formations. This is not a power running type formation. We really feel like our end can play the 6. And what we say by 6 is just inside eye the tight end. Just stone them like you always do, okay? Or come off the ball and 3-point key the ball and just play the inside gap. You could even play this as a wide 5 if you want to. All we do is line him up, head up more, we still key the ball, and we just come off, but we're just on the inside eye. But what happens is now your gap sound, okay? Your gap sound, and you can play all the zones, you know, your option, you're good, everything you're fine with the run game. Now, the thing that's nice about this is you can play games with this guy too, and this guy. You know, different guys coming at different times and playing some man coverage, okay? Your corners are always going to be locked on, right? You might go ahead and lock on the strong safety, bring the Sam and let your free safety come over here and pick this guy up with the Mike and Will taking the back either side. And you can bait that. You can take your Sam backer and line him up in a line, back him out of there. You know, they'll never know when you're going to bring him, when you're not. Your base coverage is 3 deep, okay? He's got the flat. He's got the flat. We work him hook. Just wall off tight end. He's going to work at first receiver to his outside. We number our receivers, okay? Just to help our guys out. So I'd say, Mike, you wall off tight end. You look for number 2 coming in. Wall him off. If he disappears, get underneath the next guy coming, 1 coming in, okay? Trying to keep that as simple as you can. And all he has to do is turn and work to his route. All right? The zone plays, we're good. They're not going to run the zone. The counter, we're good. They only got 1 guy back there. They don't have a lead blocker. Okay? And then they're going to throw the ball, right? Well, at different times, bring some heat. Okay? Bring some people. You might even take this end. If he runs pretty good and lock him on that tight end, bring him. All right? Bring him. Let your free safety come over here and man up on this side and bring people both on the outside. Or let him stay right there and bring a combination of your middle linebackers and keep him free in the middle. If you got an end that can run and do some things, he's manned up on that tight end, you can do some things there. Bring guys from the outside. All right? That's just a base look. Now we can go to cover 3, we can go to cover 2. Cover 3 is simple because you might want to just teach your guys on one back, we're going to go to cover 3. We're going to do that. We're going to pressure out of that package. We're going to stop the run. Okay, and not worry about the halves. Or, like I said before, you can go to your halves look, but understand you get stretched on the run game. That's the only thing. Now, what people will do, though, again, I'm going real fast, y'all. I know that. And I'm just trying to get through as much as I can with you. A lot of times we'll put our nose guard also into a G, just to flatten out the zone a little bit. Plus, it's going to set up the next thing I'm going to show you. One thing a lot of people will do is they'll take the will linebacker when they are running halves, and they're playing them in really tight, knowing that if there is a vertical or pass, you just want him far enough to where he can get to this. Tell him to play in here so if the zone comes, he can still be the cutback player, folding in inside to stay with your halves. So you can do that. But you might be, if you got a real good running attack with a one back, you know, they can run that inside zone and probably crease you. All right? That's the only problem with that a little bit. Now I'm going to show you one movement that we're going to use. Again, like I said, we move our guys quite a bit. And we'll do it out of cover 3. And then I'll show you some other one-back offenses because you might want to see all different ones. We'll put this guy in a G a lot. Okay, again, like I said, because we want to squeeze that B gap. We just feel like it's harder for those guys to get a double team on the nose. All right? Your guy might be smaller too. If you got a smaller guy, you might not want him to play your nose, to play out of shade because they can wash him out of there with that double team. Okay? Now, you might not want to do this, but we use a press alignment. Our corners play man up right on the receivers. You might want to back them off a little bit. It's whatever you want to do. Our corners do run pretty good. We got one guy that, well, in fact, we got a receiver in a corner that were the number 2 and 3 runners in the country at the combine. Both went 4.3s, which is not bad. This guy's about a 4.6 guy. This guy did clock. He's probably about a 4.3 flat, really. Now, what we'll do is we'll make a call, and we'll move these guys on a call. And it's great because this guy's already got the C gap here. And this is a great call for us. Florida State runs it, Miami runs it. Like I was saying, I've been around and been with everybody like you all do. I do the same thing. And whatever you want to call it, just make a call, and I'll guarantee you that zone, it kills all the running plays out of one back. Because those linemen, you know, usually if it's a pass offense or one back, they're usually big old guys. Don't always they're always doing, they don't move as well. They can't change direction as well. If you've got little guys and you don't have, that can run, and you start moving your guys like that against one back, I'm telling you, it's really good. It's real good. Okay? And again, you can just run your cover 3 right out of it. Now I'll show you one other thing. Remember I talked about opposite with 2 back? You can run opposite with 1 back too, and it's pretty good. Say you're a halves coverage. Say you want to keep with your halves coverage. I'll just put it up that way because I don't know what y'all are going to want to do. All you have to do is you want to stay in a zone with this, and it works so it's just like a stunt. Let your will play out here like he's on the vertical. Before snap, let him just go. You're ripping. You're coming around. You're going to loop. Okay? And you can see how it all bails out. Boom. He's going to go to flat. Comes over the top. And it's nice. You can run your opposite. It's just an inverted 3D zone. And the thing that's nice about it is you end up almost playing a robber to your twins. And then you bring somebody off the split side, and it's a great movement. And especially if you've got a little snot right here, like I got some guys that are not real big, 5'9" guys, 190 pounds, that can run. They can run pretty good. Well, I've got one that goes 4.7. The other one is pretty fast. You can bring him off the corner, and remember, he can work on opposites, and ripping, and you can maybe take your will linebacker, let him do pass rush drills, with your defensive end sometime during practice. So he can become a pretty effective pass rusher. But that's a nice little deal, okay, as far as with movement. There's a lot of stuff. I'm just trying to pick out something that you might want. for use. I know you probably won't do all this because you don't have your guys like we do. We do a lot of stuff, y'all. You can imagine we're in house coverage, we're in cover 3, we're going to play man, we're going to run some bracketing. We do a lot of things. So I don't know what is going to fit with your system off that 4-3. But that's why we like the 4-3. You can see how it's so adjustable to so many things. And it's flexible. We can give pressure. We can do a lot of things. Let me show you another thing. Some of you might like the double eagle. I'm going to just throw this out real fast. Again, you can do it from I'll do it this time from a 3 deep look. I'll switch that so I can do it from both. You can do it from halves or 3 deep, doesn't matter. Okay, all you'll do is, we just kick this. This is the only thing that we stem to. We'll tell our end, and he'll come down, and he'll play a 3 technique. Okay? And even if you call it late, he can rip there. What happened? We'll widen our end. He'll go here. Sam will come up, and he'll lock onto the tight end. All right? We'll play our Mike linebacker deep. We'll put our Will outside. He's used to split side rushing anyway with opposite, all that kind of stuff. We'll let him come off the corner. We keep him free. All right? They get the option. We knock the crap out of the quarterback. We're gonna make sure that team knows that you're gonna have to pitch the ball. We're gonna turn it into a toss sweep right away. A lot of times you'd be surprised at how many times that corner comes off this man coverage and makes a play on a pitch. We still got free safety running, okay? Come off here, we rally to the pitch. We run to the pitch, okay? You might not like that. You might want to tell your outside rusher, you peel off. Let your free safety run to the quarterback, whatever you want to do. On the option, because that's all you're going to get when they see a lot of blitzing, this double eagle look. A lot of times people are going to go to the option, okay? All right, again, I'm throwing out a lot of stuff, y'all. I don't know what you like off those things. Okay? Works nice in house coverage too. It doesn't matter. You can get to it if you like to just base out of your house coverage. You feel like you're pretty dang good up front. You can play the run game with your house coverage all the time. You can leverage those people. You can stay with your halves and quarters and just, shoot. You watch the Dallas Cowboys, Miami. That's all they do. Stay in halves all the time. They do a little bit different on their coverage though. They run where they read number 2 vertical. Then that puts them in the quarters all the way across when number 2 goes vertical. But you can do it out of either one. And it's a great pressure package. Okay? And it's a pretty good look. Again, I don't think you can do all these things. I really don't. I think you'd be foolish to try to do all these things. But I think it can be really, really simple. When you think about it, you work your 4-3 defense against the I backfield. Boom, they go to 1 back, and then you can go to cover 3 or 2 or however you want to work it. And your guys can identify the 2, okay? We call this trips, okay? We always keep it consistent. When we go, we'll always, if we're going to be in cover 3, and depends on if we're cover 2 or 3 or bracketing or whatever, we're always going to put them into a 6. That's how we're going to look. Okay, now, right before snap, he's going to bail out to go to 3 deep. okay? Will linebacker will work out. Our rule is, and it's very simple to teach your guys. Our rule is if you got 3 receivers to one side and we're going to be cover 3, both linebackers work that way, okay? Here's your flat player all the time. You got 3 deep zone. It's real easy. It works the same every time. You got 3 receivers one side, you're going to work the trip side. Okay? This is just our look against 3 deep. You can go halves coverage with it also. Again, it's not difficult. They're going to have to get more. I'm using all of it up for whoever is next. Well, we like to do this now, so I'll do it. He's a lot tighter over to this side. We can do our halves coverage. He's always got a wall off number 3 vertical. That's just one of our rules when you're in halves coverage, but that's our look right there. Here's your flat player. Again, very important that he's aware of that. Okay, so we can show halves, either one. We used to put our corner right over here. We've been trying to play our corners together out here. If you play your corner here, he's usually a lot tighter because you only got the tight end threat. Okay, if you get he's going to wall off trying to help with number 3 vertical, but that's the key guy on trips. You got to stop that guy. This guy's the key. That's where we'll sometimes go to a nickel defense, put a DB here, and he'll really play the hole. We've got to call for that coverage. I'm just trying to show you some base alignments, and I'm trying to move through as fast as possible. Okay. You might get this. Double flanker, okay? Always try to put our nose to this side. All we'll end up doing is playing 2 6s, okay? There's no, again, you don't have 2 backs in the backfield, okay? We're gap sound. It works out pretty good. You'll get a little bit of option here, which is a little bit, this is tougher on the option game because they sometimes will pin here. Here's your flat player, there's your pitch. But they'll work here and combo right off here to your will linebacker. Your end's got to do a pretty good job here. But also, what do you have? Well, let's do some movement. If they start working that side over there a little bit, okay? You can do some nice things. You really can. So it's not bad. Now I'm flying. Let me just breathe for a second. I've thrown up a lot of stuff. I've given you a lot of things that we do. Do you have any questions right now before I move on? We're doing okay. Something, you see, all I want is something to kind of, you say, hey, I like that. Just one thing or 2 things. And while I'm thinking about it right now, I'm going to put this up, my office number, so you can call it. And that's my number directly. If you want to call it and write it down, call it. You can call me anytime you want. Okay? We don't send out cut-ups. We don't send out all that stuff. Okay? But, you can definitely come out to our place. Our spring ball is through April. I've even got 1 million camp brochures with me for this summer. If you wanted to come out and bring guys to camp, I'd spend 3 days or 4 days with you just on all this. Be a great way for your guys to come out and also, just to talk about the defense, what we're doing. So that's something to consider. Maybe you don't want it. It's up to you, But I'll promise you, if you come out, I'll spend good time with you. It'll be quality. And I know how it is to go somewhere and you travel somewhere, you don't get anything because the coaches don't spend time with you. And it's a waste. It won't be that way. I've been in too many places where I didn't get always what I wanted. But the best thing also is go and have one thing, that you really want to learn about. Okay, I've gone through everything with 2 back. Okay, out of our base, what we've covered. I've shown you movement with 2 back. That really is, that works pretty good. Gone through flanker, how we line up against flanker. 1 back movement, 1 back pressure. Obviously, we've got a lot more pressure packages than that. But those are basically some of the main things we use. I've shown you some short yardage. One short yardage call, a little bit of movement. Double eagle, how you can get to it out of halves and three deep, are basically our three deep look against one back. Went through a number of one back formations. We didn't go to empty with no backs, and we definitely, that's another deal. You've got to be able to adjust to the empty formations. We've been fairly successful. Wyoming and Minnesota did a lot of that last year, and we were fortunate enough to have some success. Now, main thing I want to get to, because I don't want you to not see this, is I want to get to this tape. And on the tape I have zones, one back zones, and I also have option. And I think you all would enjoy seeing it.
On the table,
was that what we did yesterday?
you can't pull it up.
Oh, I see. I think we've got it right here, don't we? If we just pull the tape, I think we're probably all right. Yeah, I'll bet we're all right. Let's see what happens here. Is that, everybody see that all right? When it comes on, I'm sure this will be fine. Okay, this is just a zone, so y'all can watch us a little bit, and you can watch our three deep look against the zone. I might have some halves coverage in here against the zone as well. This is against Wyoming. I think they really blew that call. That was a fumble. It should have been a touchdown for us. But you can see our base alignment. You see the six techniques. That's two tights. You see how the flat player is playing right outside those six techniques. Again, you see how we're in a press alignment. Corners are bailing out. You see over here a strong safety to the right. You can see the Sam backer playing outside the six technique. It's good. That nose guard is very strong. It's against Colorado. That's a true freshman making that play. It's a nice job by him. I tell you, I was nervous. Miami's had great defenses, but when Colorado played us, they were averaging 515 yards a game, and we were fortunate if we held them to 300. But the key was being able to stop the run game. I really felt like they had great wideouts, and we have great corners. There's no question. You can see our guys will run to the ball. You can see how we're playing the two tights there. A couple people need to get to the ball. There was about 2 or 3 guys who weren't at the ball there. You see how we bail out in three. You see what I was talking about with the free safety. You'll see over here to the left side of your screen, our will linebacker should be moving out of there, and he's not. It's against Minnesota. They have a really awfully good running back. Okay, now we'll share our halves coverage look. Should be a 9, but we're not. Okay, now we'll just go to the option. Again, I'm letting this go because I'm just worried about time as far as seeing all of it. This is against Oklahoma State. See the middle linebacker getting out? You can see him moving. See that right there? This is really important to see. Okay, watch right here. So, again, the stuff doesn't mean anything. If you say it on the blackboard, you can't see it happen. You see, we don't get a jam on tight end here. But you see, because of the angle, if you watch the tight end side, that's usually the tougher side sometimes. People say, but you see him try to get that middle linebacker, doesn't get there. And we still got a free safety coming. Should be our safety or corner. Trying to remember what side they ran that to. Let me get the wide angle. Right here, the safety. See him right over here? He cuts inside. He shouldn't have. That was dumb. The guy should have blocked him. Number 7. Now that guy, you see him? Did you see us go and tack the load? I wish he would have ripped the outside and not gotten cut, but he did attack it, which is good. Here's you got your 3 back. See the flex? That makes it tough, real tough. And a lot of times you want to bring, really what I would say, you see how we still played it? We still got a middle linebacker out? What you do, if they do a lot of that, you got to bring your end back inside. And don't let them be able to do that to you. Again, you watch 43, the true freshman is getting out of there. You watch your outside 54. I think they're going to run this over to this side, right? You see how he works outside the load, he gets cut. All right, it happens sometimes, but try to get the 43 out. You see that? How we're trying to protect him. Here, I just showed this because of free safety. Sometimes they all get blocked. Free safety makes a play. See how much deeper I've got the middle backer right here? See him trying to get, well, he got to him, right? Then you got your free safety, because that will happen sometimes. Okay, here we got 1 back. Okay, this is our adjustment of 1 back, and we've just got, this against Nebraska. We're bluffing, and 2 back. I'm sorry, I mean twin open. You're right, 2 back. Our end's too wide. They're too wide here. Again, you can see the board option out to the left side. Our end's too wide on the left side. You see how he gets the middle linebacker? Middle linebacker comes underneath it. That's bad. The end's too wide. And that's not good. Again, twin open with 2 back. That's how I like watch this one young man. He's going to be a real good player for us. He's about 6'3", 270. You know, I told you that we're starting to get more in line. You can see the end coming off. This guy's 6'3", 270, benches 400. Can you imagine what he's doing to the fullback here on the right side? The left guy is 4'7", about 6'2", 240. He's a redshirt freshman. The other one's a sophomore. Then number 9's a sophomore. You know, the high jumper linebacker. So we are starting to get some pretty good players. I mean, athletic. This is Dirk Oaks, one of our defensive ends. He's from Kansas City. See how he slams down, comes outside? Does a heck of a job. He runs well. He's a sophomore. This is at our place. 3 back. I don't know if you've faced much 3 back. But you see the middle linebacker getting out. Now, I did put Purcell in the middle for this game. I was trying him there early in the year because I was trying to get a feel for where he'd be because I want a middle linebacker to get outside, and he does run. We got all 3 of them there that time. I got 45 here to the split side this time. So, you know, those guys should be able to play the different spots as long as they understand what you're trying to get done. But you see the free safety and linebacker getting outside there. I thought I'd try to show some different. And 29's Mike Eckler. You see how he gets, I don't want him to get cut like that. But again, like I'm saying, you can play with all kinds of different people. 29 again is 5'9", 195. And Jamie Mendez, so you know he's awfully good free safety for us. He'll get drafted pretty high. You see our guys are going to run to the ball. See how we're trying to stretch it out to the sideline. Again, you can just watch the tackle, the 5 technique, how he gets him away. See that right there? You'll see it over and over again. You watch the middle linebacker and see how the end's tighter, square, he's squeezing. You know, he doesn't do a great job on him, but he does enough to get a middle linebacker out. Whenever we get to 2 split looks, so we're going to show a lot of halves. I've got my 2 5'9" linebackers in there right now, middle and the split side. They do what they're told, and they run to the ball. Okay, this is Nebraska. This is over in Japan. This is the only tape I have from. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of that. The option, and that's it on this tape. Do we have anybody get the lights? I don't know where the lights are, but anyway.